Okay, we're going to the second part of the question where we have to find the internal rate of return. So basically, the internal rate of return is just telling you from this project, it's just giving you your return in percentage form. Remember, return is the money you make from an investment. So we're just getting our return in a percentage form. Now, with the internal rate of return, IRR, if the return from your project is less than the cost of capital, then you don't accept the project. Okay? Because let's say you borrowed money, interest is at 25%, and then the return of your project is 20%. It means the return is less than what you're actually paying for borrowing for the project. So you don't accept it. Okay? But in this case, if our return is greater than 25%, okay, which is our cost of capital, then we can accept the project because our return is greater than what the cost of borrowing, basically. We're getting more from the project than what we're paying for borrowing for the project. So if the internal rate of return is less than the cost of capital, don't accept, because it means the return that you're getting is less than what you're paying for borrowing. But if your internal rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, you accept project. Now, with the internal rate of return, it's just like a continuation of the net present value technique. Okay, because basically what happens is you have to have two net present values. Okay, you need two net present values. Okay, one should be positive and the other should be negative. All right. Yes. So this is what we're going to do for project one. So let's say part B. So basically what we have to do for this, for project one, we need to find another discount factor. This is like a trial and error process. Okay, you have to find a new discount factor, and with that new discount factor, since we've got a negative present value here, so with your new discount factor, okay, you need to get a positive present value. Okay, so just remember this rule to prevent you from doing a lot of trial and error. Okay, if your first NPV is negative, reduce your discount factor. Okay, if you want, you can divide the original discount factor by 2, or you can just choose any discount factor which is less than 25%. Okay, it's up to you. You can use any discount factor less than 25% because our first net present value is negative. If your first NPV is positive, then you increase your discount factor. So in this case, if we found a positive net present value, all right, when doing the internal rate of return, we can choose now a discount factor above 25%. Okay, so please remember this, colleagues. Otherwise, in the exam room, you'll be surprised. All the discount factors you're using are giving you negatives again or positives again. Okay, so in our case here, our first net present value is negative, so we need to reduce our discount factor. Okay, so we can choose any discount factor below 25%. Okay. So in an exam, what I would advise, choose the lowest discount factor you can think of so that you're not redoing the process over and over again, okay? Because maybe let's say if you choose 20%, it still gives you a negative net present value. It means you have to go low. If you try 15% and it still gives you a negative net present value, it means you have to go low, okay? So in an exam, our advice when you're doing the IRR, choose the lowest possible so that you are not calculating too much. So in this case, colleagues, which discount factor should we use? Any discount factor below 25%. What discount factor can we use? 10%. Okay. Any questions, colleagues, before we move further? Okay, 10%. So this becomes 10% is 0. 0.1. 1 plus 0. 0.1, this becomes 1.1. Okay, this here. Because remember, for discount factor, we're using this formula. Where is that? Yes, here. So our R is 10%, becomes a decimal 0. 0.1. 1 plus 0. 0.1, 1.1. Okay, so here we can now use the tables because we have 10% on our table. Okay, we have 10% here. Okay, so on your when you go to your table, okay, you look for the percentage. Here's the percentage, 10%. Then you compare, okay? In year one, discount factor 0.909. In year two, 0.826. Year three, 0.751. Okay, you just get the values. Okay, the tabulations have already been done for you. So in year one, year zero is always going to be one. Okay, colleagues, every time year zero is always going to be one because of the power zero. So here for year zero, we're just going to write one here. Okay, we'll do like, because in the you have to show all your workings. So 1.1 to the power negative 0, that gives you 1. Year 2, not year 2, that was year 0. Year 1, 0.909. Year 2, 0.826. Year 3, 0.751. And here again, 0.751. Okay, colleagues, that's how you read from the tables. Then we calculate our present values. Okay, so for year 0, we're doing project thing. This is project A. Let me just bring this down. Yes. Remember, we're multiplying these cash flows with these discount factors here. So negative 105 times 1, we get negative 105. 37 times 0.909, what do we get? Yes, is anyone there? 37 times 0.909. That's 33 point what? Okay, just leave it as two decimal places. Okay, the next, uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes, madam. What do you, they should give you the format. Honestly. Yeah, but that's asking for too much now. Mm. No, they spoon. You know the only way they'll spoon feed you in the exam. They'll give you the formula for the internal rate of return because the formula is kind of, it's when you see it once I reach it. That formula is given to you. Okay. Yes. And the tables are given to you. So I think they've spoon fed as much as they can. Okay. Negative 2 times 0.826. 5 times 0.751. 3.76. And then 9 times 0.751. 6.76. All right. Okay, let's add, let's total them up. Negative 105 plus negative 33 plus 33.6 plus negative 1.65 plus 3.76 plus 6.76. Looks like we're still getting a negative number. What value do we get? Okay, so you have to go lower, okay, because the aim here is we need to find a positive net present value, okay. We need to find a positive net present value. So we have to go lower, okay. Now I've got a class with the first years, okay. So maybe next time we meet, we'll continue from this part here. Madam, what did you get? Eesh, this project. Have you seen? We've reduced the discount factor by a big amount, but we're still on the negative 60s. Okay. So when we continue, we'll try a discount factor of 1%. Okay. We'll see if we can get a positive one. If we can't get a positive one, then you already know this project is really not worthwhile because your internal rate of return is going to come out negative. Okay. So when we meet for our next class, we'll start from here. We'll check the new discount factor. Okay. For those who are true learners, you can try by yourself and say, okay, let me try 1%. You send screenshots. Okay, you send me a screenshot, we'll see what you get.